Alright, we're here for a quick one. Gonna Jesus. Gonna be a few minutes long. Don't mind me screwing up. I'm gonna try to talk fast and try to go over a lot of other things. But, to start, things have been escalating in society. Whether it's in America, Europe, across the world. Well, most places. Especially ones that are going through dramatic changes in their legislation. And this is something that we should at least touch upon because it's important. It has to do with understanding what's to come, understanding what the truth is relative to how people act, how they continue to act, their stated reasons, and their intents, and then deriving the real reasons and intents based on their character, their personality, their attempts at posturing, the way that they act, the things that they say, because everything, as even I speak right now, is an action. Me moving my hands in the air, it's an action. It's conveying something. It's conveying my ego, my personality, my thoughts, my expression, my freedom of expression, right? First Amendment right. These are all things that have just been forgotten about. People don't seem to know how to even think for themselves anymore. It's astonishing. And at least just a few recent examples today, because you can find me being a comment demon in a lot of videos. But let me go over at least some of them as a preface, and then we're going to expand upon the analysis, right? So, So I left a comment on an MSNBC video. Mind you, my feed is definitely not just that. Like I'll have Forbes, I watch a little bit of everything because in order for me to actually understand what the truth of a situation is, and for you as well, for anyone, you need to step outside your bubble. You need to take the time to explore what other people say and then actually work between one source and another, find what the differences is, find what the similarities are. The similarities are going to obviously tend more toward the truth of a situation, and then the differences are going to help you determine the character of presentation, the posturing that's involved. Because obviously, when it comes to understanding bias, there's two sides of it, right? So when you look at, for example, MSNBC compared to Fox News, clearly there's a liberal bias and a not so liberal bias, a conservative bias. But then again, now we're getting to the political extremes when we start talking about political science. Liberalism is being compared to communism, which is not even true to begin with. Even socialism, for that matter, it's not exactly true. We can see that with the actions and the legislation that the Democratic side has proposed within the past few decades, how they act relative to corporations, relative to each other, relative to their constituents. Whereas conservatism has absolutely tended toward fascism and authoritarianism, especially nowadays, and compliance of such. Because the people that are in power, I mean, honestly, the Senate and the legislature is just on vacation for this next 4 years, as long as everything stays at a deadlock. They clearly can't do anything. Democrats can't do anything, and Republicans can just pass whatever they want, basically. And even on a state-by-state basis, which is why we're seeing aspects of a secession appearing. Whereas, for one instance, there's reports of conservative states lending their National Guard to DC, adding more and more troops because of not even just crime. Their stated reason is crime, but it's obviously for the protests. Obviously. They want to maintain control because the people, the constituents that live in DC, which is obviously democratic as the last voting, the tallies, all the consensus, the census, all of that data, right? The measurements before people got fired from those positions and yes men were put into place, as we're obviously seeing, because it just takes a few minutes of research, a few minutes of taking the time to fucking Google someone's name, or look things up for yourself, not even just to look at what other people are doing, but to take some time to figure some shit out instead of sitting there saying dumb shit like, I don't know, And let's not forget, you're too old to even get out of bed. MAGA runs this country now, stay indoors. What? One, how do you even know how old I am? Like, what type of dumb shit is that? Is it because I speak like an educated person? Like, I've been here for a while? Because I haven't been here for that long. It doesn't take that much time to figure things out. What I commented on this MSNBC video, which is stating the significant escalation of the GOP state sending National Guards to DC, here's the beginning of the secession. The next civil war is closer than ever, and it's sad to see, but we need to fight to protect what's left of humanity and existence itself at this point. Don't forget the importance of humanity, or else humanity can cease to exist given such opportunity. This has nothing to do with the propaganda. This has to do with everything that's going on in the world. Not just in America. This is literally like when you start looking at Peter Thiel and his beliefs and the technocrats and the oligarchs and the people that actually have the money, have more money than you, sir, and who have more money than me, and that also have a similar understanding to what I'm telling you right now. A lot of these people already understand these simple facts in regards to humanity, in regards to opportunity, possibility, all of this consciousness. They understand that, which is why they're able to work the way they're able to work. These are people that are developing fucking AI systems that are saying that humanity is probably not going to endure. You know, the whole technocracy, just people that are just without moral value, without ethics, that don't care about humanity at all. They only care about themselves. I watched a Alex Way video, and he put this into great perspective when it comes to Palantir and Peter Thiel, you know, the guy that runs PayPal that had that interview. And you can see it right there, the connections that are being made, what's being done, who's in bed with each other, right? This young person literally did some research, looked up some names, found out more about JD Vance, which I didn't even know about, because apparently JD Vance is in bed with these people as well. That's probably why he's even vice president, because in case, you know, something happens, there's someone that's in league with these technocrats, these people that don't give a shit about you, that don't give a shit about me, that want to just control and want to limit the amount of people that even exist in the first place, that take up resources. That's why we're seeing what's happening with the homeless population. Literally, the decision to have people sell their RV homes for $2,000, which, mind you, most of those vehicles are worth way more than that. And to have that happen just so they can go in a motel and spend all that money within, like, what, a week? I'm sure as hell they're not going to get free motel services or anything like that. Right? They're getting put into a situation where they're able to travel and get the hell out of here. And now they're being forced to basically stay in place. And as they're homeless, with the recent executive order, as we've went over on the channel, it's putting them in a position where they're just going to get thrown into a slave labor concentration camp with no way out. There's a couple of videos that I watched on that as well. So I'll run through the little list shortly as I try to wrap this up quick. But to see people comment like this, granted, I agree with, let's not forget the people who've taken us there, Trump supporters, which, funny enough, you take this propaganda way too seriously. The amount of times that people just look at the word news, look at what political bias that news organization might have, and just instantly state it as propaganda is so fucking stupid, is absolutely retarded. These are the type of people that are the Trump supporters. It's just the uneducated. I actually saw a short about a couple of weeks ago where this woman was describing an interaction she had with a MAGA supporter, saying that she saw a MAGA supporter say that they don't have to worry about student loans. You wonder why, right? Because they never went to fucking school. They don't have an education. They don't know how to learn from themselves. They don't know how to take the time to look at one video, then look at the other side, or look at what someone is saying, take the time to digest it, and then be like, huh, that's interesting. And then they just, go about their days. Just pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to your paychecks. Pay attention to how your job's treating you. Pay attention to how prices are going up, gas prices, everything. Like, everything's interconnected, especially when it comes to a government in bed with all these companies while also fighting against the retailers and all these other companies that are just trying to make sure that we can afford to live at this point. It gives me a whole different perspective of Walmart, Target, and everything else, because they're like, at least they're eating the cost of the tariffs to a point, which we can all appreciate to some extent, but clearly there's only so much they can do, especially since the major tariffs implemented by this administration, which Fox News sure as hell loves to talk about, which, mind you, subscriptions right there at fucking Fox News and Newsmax. Come on. It is so obvious, and you can say it's a rabbit hole, you can say it's conspiracy, but it's right in front of your fucking face. It's that easy. When people are so friggin' ignorant to a point where they're like, clearly this guy doesn't even know who I am. Just saying I'm too old because I don't know how I type like an educated person, even though I can't speak that well half the time. But that's the point. It's that ignorance. It's that fact of not understanding that behind every action, there's a reason and intent. And with consequences being understood from an action, because time exists, right? Things happen over time. It takes time to understand things, to experience things. So without that understanding, you're just fucking stupid. You don't know how to learn. You're a problem. You're a problem to yourself. Granted, sure, maybe you're good at working on cars or doing construction and everything else, but if you're so closed-minded to a point where you're arguing with people that want to do better for society, you're part of the problem. If you're so quick to judge and get into a bar fight, or a fight at a bar over customer service, actually hurt people, and end up even ending people's lives, or going to Target and what happened in Texas, and just going on a rampage, or in a school, or anything like that, it all matters. Ideology, the way people see the world, the way people experience things, everything, everyone's character, everyone's ego, which a lot of people ignore. We don't realize that our ego dictates our future and how we interact with others, right? Our beliefs are the things that we experience, that we live through, and that we perceive. And the differences between those things when it comes to understanding the truths relative to the experience, whether you're watching a video or you're living through it yourself, and you're not seeing every camera angle, right? You're not seeing the person from behind the door coming in with a weapon of some sort, right? Like, you don't have eyes in the back of your head. But if you trained, became more aware of your environment, understood that paying attention is important, then you would more likely survive an incident like that. You'd be able to hear them coming. You'd be able to understand that through experience, especially people with military experience. Granted, they might have some PTSD and some other factors that'll make them jumpy, but they obviously were trained with that to handle those type of situations, whereas the average Joe, like this person over here or this one over here, they're susceptible to anything. They're clearly susceptible to magtardization. Like, they're susceptible to an ideology. Their skills in terms of survival and stuff like that is very questionable. And those are people that, unfortunately, given time, you just won't be able to rely on if they don't learn how to learn shit. They don't learn how to pay attention. If they stop being like, oh, if I pay attention, I become woke. That's not, like, come on. If you want to survive the test of time, then you need to pay attention. You need to learn. You need to learn how to survive. Some things just don't come instinctively. It's just like when we develop vaccines, science, right? People that learn to look at things at a microscopic level, to see things that we typically can't see in order to prevent those things from killing us. They took the time to do it. They took the time to figure out how to do it for the benefit of society, to increase your life expectancy from 35 years old to 85. To give you about 50 years more to live, to experience life, to build your knowledge base, to not be ignorant. But then a lot of people always take that for granted. Like these people. So I'm done shitting on them. I mean, these type of people make examples of themselves every day. They already made examples of themselves when they voted for the orange guy. And they caused all this, just genuinely. Their stupidity, their ignorance, their lack of wanting to understand the truth, and to believe in such bullshit, to believe in a scam nonetheless, someone that's constantly scamming them, constantly emailing them saying, oh, please give me money, oh, you were going to miss out on this, like, preying on people's FOMO, the posturing, the bullshit, writing in executive orders that don't allow the federal government to interfere with speech. The thing that I went over, the executive order on January 20th, which was supposed to be the whole Free Speech Act. Meanwhile, they're putting in bias monitors in all these news organizations, anyone that they can sue. They're trying to do it in a financial sense as well. So they already went over and against their own orders that they're putting in. They're breaking their own laws that they're making within the same few months. And no one can figure that out. Like, that's another thing too. That's which I also go over on the channel. Between that and the whole Epstein thing, which I saw a video from Mudahar yesterday. Finally, someone else is like, well, he had young girls at his spa that he hired? Oh my fucking god. Like, months later, weeks later since I even reported it, and made that connection, is just like, this guy was hiring underage girls to work at his spa. That is creepy as shit, and probably even illegal in Florida's standards. Granted, I don't know the exact ages and the nuances of the case. CoffeeZilla, your turn to go over that shit. But it is just so astounding to me that there's just so much stupidity and ignorance in the world that we're inherently shooting ourselves in the foot. We're causing our own demise. And meanwhile, all these people that have all the wealth in the world that can hide in their towers, their shelters, or underground bunkers, or anything that can survive literally nuclear bombs at this point, they don't give a fuck. That's probably what they want to do, because the less people that exist, then the more resources there is left for them on Earth. They can do whatever they want. They got robots to do shit now. They're already on the verge of mass producing friggin' robots, if they haven't already, that can do everything that we can do. Amazon, they're already replacing most of their work staff with fucking robots. You start putting in automated delivery drivers at this point, that's it, game over. Amazon already does everything. And that's why they made the deals that they did with this administration, because they're allowing them to do this. Same thing with Palantir. Like that's why they put it as not allowing any laws against AI, any restrictions in any way for a decade, because they know they're in the end game. Not even to sound conspiratorial, but it's true. When the people that have less than us, that are the US poor, facing a harsh reality in 2025, when people that have mobile homes are being kicked out of their fucking mobile homes at this point to live on the streets, and when they live on the streets, they end up just going to jail. You know, vehicles are getting repoed. Like, God forbid that friggin' happens to me. I'm like a hair's away from being in that situation myself. I end up getting found living in my car, the car that I paid off for completely. It took me about 5 years to pay it off, but I did it. I own it. Now they're just gonna take it away just because I don't have somewhere to live? What type of fucking shit is that? Like, come on. Pay attention, people. This isn't propaganda. This is happening right now. And if you don't pay attention, it's gonna happen to you when you least expect it. When your insurances for your homes that you bought and paid for are just like, well, you need a better insurance because cost of living is just so much higher and the environment's so much worse because it just is what it is. So we're raising your rates because we feel like it, because property values are just going up because even though there's so many vacant homes available, there's so many places to live available, it's just the squeeze. It's just the further squeeze. My parents actually are dealing with friggin' them having to get a new homeowner's insurance because apparently their current insurance isn't adequate to cover like a 1-2 family home, the smallest shit. Like, what the fuck do you mean, dude? We're not even in like a hurricane area or anything. There's no natural disasters typically happening in where we're at all. We're actually in a better spot than people in Florida and anywhere else, in California or anything. And the insurance is just like, yeah, that insurance is inadequate. Like, what the fuck? Why do they even exist then? What are they insuring friggin' like shacks? Like storage containers at this point? Is that what they're good for? What the fuck, man? What is this bullshit valuation stuff that's just forcing people to be homeless? Because especially if you have a mortgage that you're paying off, you don't have insurance, then you can't have the house. You're homeless. That's it. You're not gonna rent it out. You're already paying mortgage. So there's clearly a ploy in a direction, given the actions by insurance companies, the top 1% of earners, the richest people in the world. They're all collectively, whether they're doing it knowingly or not, they're all rushing to the end. They're trying to destroy society. It's the oligarchy. It's the people with money that know that money doesn't mean shit. Especially when you got robots and the value of humanity has gone to nothing. It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't fucking matter. It only matters to them because it gets them out of harm's way because they can pay someone money that other people see the value in over their own morals. That's what's happening with ICE. Especially with all the people that are unemployed and got laid off and that are continuing to get laid off. The best opportunity right now is to join the Gestapo. Like, because they give you a $50,000 sign-on bonus. You can get a new car with that. Not even, that's just the sign-on bonus, not even the salary, which is a 6-digit salary. To literally put your morals aside and be unethical and to threaten the existence of other people that are just trying to survive. Just fundamentally, because as we've seen with the data, over 86% of the people that are being thrown into these planes or thrown into these slave labor camps in these other countries alongside millions of dollars being sent with them to money launder to these other countries. So if shit hits the fan with this administration, then they got somewhere to go and they have some money hidden. It's all so obvious that they're just trying to thin the herd. The sheeple, the people that just aren't waking up, paying attention, stepping out of their bubbles. They're taking advantage of everyone that's in the bubble. This is why I watch Midas Touch. This is why I watch Legal AF. God damn it. Alright, is this so? Okay. Don't mind that. Just, that's probably Palantir, man. Who knows? Trying to stop me from talking because it's true. They're all doing this. And all these companies that are beholden to profit margins and their shareholders, the stock market, and everything else, they just have to comply if they're going to exist. This is how the game has been set up. This is the framework because of money. And when you stop giving a shit about the dollar or money or anything like that, pieces of paper that have no real value, that have no real use, that aren't goods or services, then everything starts to make sense. Especially me having to deal with the whole not getting unemployment for almost 3 months now, even though it was agreed upon that I was supposed to get it, because there's also a war on the unemployed. Over 250,000 people in Massachusetts have not been receiving unemployment benefits. Still, I'm in talks with my senator, which I haven't heard back in about a week or so now. Well, no, about a week, which that's concerning. I'm going to have to start reaching out to lawyers or figuring out something. And unfortunately, that's the other problem with our government, or the US government, is that in order to even be a part of the judicial system, to do anything, you need a piece of paper that allows you to do it. A bunch of pieces of paper that allow you to do it. That wasn't in the Constitution. Here we go again. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Wow. Well, someone's on to me, maybe. Or maybe just my technology finally shit in the bed. Who knows? That's very concerning. It's just, people need to take the time to understand things in order to derive the truth behind the actions. Okay? Between the significant escalation against the homelessness, between people that are just trying to make a better life for themselves, the 86, almost 90% at this point, because they just keep detaining more and more people that aren't criminals. They just fundamentally are not criminals, and that we're not criminals at all in the past administration, especially the asylum seekers, the people that are just trying to get away from a bad situation so they can live. All because they changed the laws within the last few months, saying that, oh, all these people that legally were allowed to come here are just illegal. Just because. Just because I feel like it. Because I don't like them. Because they look bad. They make us look bad. You know, if I'm gonna sell $1 million citizenship memberships and completely disregard the whole citizenship program, which is another thing that people still argue about, is like, oh, well, if they went through the system the right way, there is no system left to go through. It's gone. People, they did go through the system, then they changed the rules and got rid of it and started charging $1 million. Like, what's going to happen when your grandkids are born and, oh, if you're going to continue to exist in this country, you have to have $1 million. Otherwise, you're going to prison labor camp. What the fuck are you going to do then? I don't even want to sound superfluous or hyperbolic, but it's on that path. The more things like this happen, the more that actions that occur that show the reason and intent more clearly as you pay attention to what is going on, then the more likely that these things are going to come to fruition. Just like when you send National Guard troops armed to the teeth to a city that has a declining crime rate, you're just allowing the worst to happen. You're facilitating the possibility of the worst possible outcomes by introducing introducing such unnecessary force. It's exactly how it is. So, anyways, like and sub, check out Alex Way, check out Adam Mockler, check out Midas, check out Large Man Abroad, because he's also popping off. Forbes, breaking news. I mean, even they're turning around. Alex Way, just Damon Cassidy as well. Check all of them out, because these people have been doing a lot of good work. And maybe you'll start to understand things a little bit better yourself. Also, Abin Preach. This was the self-defense, the restaurant owner that I was talking about. Just check them all out, man. And also check out the website where I go over constitutional analysis as well as the Declaration of Independence, aspects of those, because it's all relevant today. If you read the Declaration of Independence and compare it to this current administration, you'll be like, why the fuck haven't we declared independence at this point? What is going on? We're on that path. It's clear as day. They even touch on migration and immigration as well within the Declaration of Independence. So when I get the time to do it and go over the DOI while it's still there, I might even have to screenshot it and save it before they get rid of the National Archives, which is coming at this point. Because anything that can be used against them, they're going to delete. They're going to get rid of. They've already been doing it. It's obvious. But till next time, this is Spark saying peace and good luck, man. Just take the time to learn shit. Stop being stupid. If your ignorance is going to be the end of all of us, just realize it sooner than later. Otherwise, we're fucked. Bye.